All right, we have a green light. I think that means I'm on and ready to roll. Let's go tweet this, and then let's also post it on the website. Copy, close. All right, I think we're in good shape. The website, jollyrogerukulele.com. Today is Tuesday, April 6th. We are going to be working on revised Arpeggiator in G minor for ukulele and D minor for baritone. We're also going to be working on a brand new arrangement of Marty Robbins' El Paso, and oddly, in baritone, it's in the original key, which I never care about, but I thought was kind of a fun thing. And so we have a fun day of Cowboys ahead, and that's what we're working on today. Let's see. Alright, so I got that posted. Let's make sure it works correctly. Dun, 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 dun. There's that. Down in the West Texas. And we got the cow on there today. Yesterday we struggled like heck to get that on there. And then Hippies and Cowboys and Arpeggios. YouTube. https://jollyrogerukulele.com. They're bringing the Major League All-Star game here to Denver, and it's kind of funny because in Denver we have a shockingly terrible baseball team, and nobody cares because they serve beer there. And in Denver, we like baseball because they serve beer. And we like football. We have a terrible football team because they serve beer. Meanwhile, our other sports that do fine, less people go to. All right, tweet. All right, so there is that. All right, there's that. Let's see. Bruce is in from Virginia. Hey, Bruce. Kay is in from Longmont, and Vic is in. Sound is good. Sunny up in Eugene today. We are finally sunny here in Denver. Word on the streets that we're going to get a little bit of rain or snow tonight. Feels pretty hot out there to have snow tonight, so thinking it'll probably just be wet grass. But 57 degrees out in beautiful downtown Denver, Colorado. Not that beautiful. Don't come here if you think it's beautiful. Don't let me tell you that. When you come to Denver, you fly in, you spend the night in downtown Denver. You land and then you take the train into downtown Denver and you spend the night. Try to stay in one of the old historic hotels because they're fun. And then you go up and you take a picture of the Capitol, and then maybe you go to the Denver Art Museum, and then you've pretty much done everything in Denver. So you can walk through all that stuff, and then you rent a car and you go to the mountains and you spend a week up in the mountains. That's how visiting Denver works. I'm trying to think if there's anything else worth seeing here. Cindy is in. Hey, Cindy. Carol in from the mountains, ready for some good cowboy music. Well, we're going to do some cowboy music. I don't guarantee it'll be any good. Elizabeth is in. Ronnie Robbins, El Paso, son of Marty, playing on another screen. Well, who knew, right? Ronnie Robbins. If your last name is Robbins and you name your son Robert or Ronald, that's too many R's. Woody Guthrie named his son Arlo Guthrie. That made sense, right? Ronnie Robbins. I don't know, because he's as good of a singer as Marty. I think Marty Robbins is a great singer. Cindy, beer and hot dogs and Cracker Jacks, right? I don't know how many baseball games I've been to since they moved in down there. I can't think of a time when I actually knew what their record was at any given time. Or that's not true. That one time they had like 15 wins in a row in order to get into the playoffs. Or was it? It was a whole bunch of wins right in a row. And they did them all to get in the playoffs. I remember that. Other than that, not a huge baseball fan. I love to go to the games, but that's my experience with going to the games is the environment. Hot dogs, Cracker Jacks, right? One time I did get a friend of mine, his dad's kind of really into baseball. He says, hey, Gary, I got these, my dad's not going to go. Why don't we go down? And he's got good seats. I says, fine. We were right behind home plate, like row 4 or something, right behind home plate. And if you watch a baseball game from there, that's the place to do it. It was awesome. Let's see. Barbara's in this afternoon. Linda's back in. She's still recovering. She's hanging out in Virginia with her grandsons. Nice. All right. Bruce and Linda are both in Virginia today. Linda down the street from me, Colorado Springs. Terry really down the street from me, across the park. Snow is doubtful here in Cheeseman, right? They're talking about it being a little bit rainy tonight, but it's just too hot for there to be real snow by the night. But I could be wrong. Who knows? Lynn is in from New Jersey. Lovely day. Took a walk. Yay! Lynn's had a bit of a run of things out there. It's good to have you out and about. Jacqueline is here from Denver. Elizabeth, he's good. Better than his dad when his dad was. Oh, really? Oh, very good. All right. So, Ronnie Robbins. Who knew? Hey, Kat, welcome in. And Janice is in. Stopped snowing. Finally clearing up over there in Scotland. Glad you made it in, Janice. I like it when it's snowing, Janice, because you're less likely to be out riding your bike, and you're more likely to be here playing ukulele. And Michelle, of course, from Rockaway Beach. All right, so guys, let's get started. We have essentially all new music today, so what we're working on is finding typos. We pretend to be playing music, but we're really working on typos. I feel like we will probably do better doing the Marty Robbins stuff first. So let's go grab El Paso, and let's grab the ukulele version. Let's talk about it. And what you're looking at here. And so if you don't know the song, which is entirely possible, you really should go to YouTube and listen to Marty Robbins sing this. Out in the West Texas town of El Paso, I fell in love with a Mexican girl. And that's your whole first page. Nighttime would find me in Rosie's Cantina. Music would play and Felina would whirl. So you picture the scene, right? It's very, very Texas. Okay. Blacker than midnight, her eyes, the eyes of Felina, wicked and evil while casting her spell. What do you expect? It's a white guy writing this song, right? We know how they think. My love was deep for this Mexican maiden. I was in love, but in vain I could tell. All right, at least he's got some self-awareness. He loves this girl. In vain I could tell. So he at least knows that, but he can't stop his love. Just in love, right? So you're going to do... Now, here's what the sheet music is set up. You have two verses, and then you go to the bridge. And then you do two more verses, and you go to the bridge. And you do two more verses, and go to the bridge. Do two more verses, go to the bridge. Two more verses, and stop. So that's what you're doing there. Now, I want one of you to... how should I put this? In order to get the repeats to work properly on the MP3 on the software, in order to get it to do the two verses and a bridge, two verses and a bridge, all of these times, and then at the end, two verses and stop, in order to get the software to do that, I probably spent 3 hours trying to work on the repeats. I finally got them. They work on the MP3. Everything works perfectly, and it's not unimportant that the song then lasts 4.5 minutes. So usually we do songs that last a minute, minute and a half. You know, if we're feeling spunky, we'll get a 2-minute song in. But this thing goes on forever. The challenge I have, being having been trained in college and still having a bit of a desire to write in the English language and use prose tools and all that stuff, is that the narrator of our story gets killed and dies at the end of the song. And so I always struggle with the dead narrator paradigm, because at the end of the song, cradled by two loving arms that I die for. That's how the song ends, that I die for. No, that's not how it really dies. One little kiss and Felina, goodbye. That's how you're going to end, right? And so your narrator ends up dead. That doesn't work at all, but that's what it is. I guess we don't hold Marty Robbins accountable for... what do they call it? Where you have to... suspended disbelief. Story is, loves this girl, ends up shooting a guy in the bar because he was talking to her. never a good idea. So then he has to hightail it out and hang out in New Mexico, right? Badlands of New Mexico, if I remember right how he says it. Where is it? Where's the New Mexico thing? It's funny. So he has to go over there. I spent some time in New Mexico, and I'll tell you, it is the Badlands, no question about it. And then, so he's over in New Mexico for a little while. He doesn't like it. He's just still in love with her. So he decides he's going to go back to see her. And of course, as he's racing back to see her, he gets shot. And right outside of Rosie's Cantina, a pretty convenient place for him to be when he gets shot. She rushes out, grabs him by in her arms, and then he dies. Okay, so that's what's going on here. Yeah. So let's see. A few other people made it in today. Sandy's here. Linda in from Maui. Diane from Denver. Dennis is in from Toronto. Good to see you, Dennis. Laurel is in also, and Fran in from SoCal. So we've got this cowboy. That's it. Now let's talk music. Okay. Here's this song that just never ends. It goes on and on and on and on and on. Pretty typical structure in some ways. 2 verses and a bridge, 2 verses and a bridge, 2 verses and a bridge, that sort of thing. That was sort of typical. What's different about modern music is the bridge would be the same every time. We would call it the chorus. But in this case, on page 3, you'll notice every single line is different. So there's no chorus whatsoever. So we call it a bridge. Okay, or there's other words you could call it, but I think you're going to play a verse, and then whatever this is on page 3, and then a verse, and come back to page 3. So there's no chorus whatsoever. He's just singing the story. So it really truly is a ballad. And there is one place, as I was putting this together, where he doesn't have any words, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, what's going on there? So it's about verse 7 on page 2. There's an instrumental break, right? And you can imagine after 1, 2, 3, 4, after 5 verses, he takes a little break from singing, and then 4 more verses to finish it out. It just goes on and on. So what we want to do is we want to study pages 1 and 2 as a thing, and then we'll study page 3 as a thing, and then on Friday we'll play a few verses. We're never going to play all 10 verses, because honestly, if you do sing all 10 verses, you will automatically you will spontaneously burst into being a cowboy, and you don't want that. So let's talk chords. Here's what's kind of cool. When we go to baritone, it's in the original key. Accidentally, I didn't mean to do that. G chord for ukulele. Out in the West Texas town, West Texas, and then go to A minor, town of El Paso. Okay, and then a D7. I fell in love with a Mexican girl. Okay, then G chord. By the way, if you've never been to El Paso, it's hot down there. Elizabeth knows. She lived in Las Cruces. I was down there, and it is so hot there. G chord. Nighttime would find me in Rosie's Cantina. Music would play and Felina would whirl. Then you go back to the top. Blacker than midnight are the eyes of Felina. Wicked and evil while casting her spell. Okay, so there's that. And then on to the second verse, or keep going, page 2. My love was deep for this Mexican maiden. I was in love, but in vain I could tell. Okay, so good for him. So then we go on to page 2. You actually switch keys. And so I wanted to point out, you'll notice at the end of 16 where that repeat is. Normally we go back and repeat it, but at the end of 16 you see there's a little natural sign there at the very end. And this is how we change keys in music, is you will erase the previous key and start the new key. In this case, you're coming out of the key of G, you erase it, and now you're in the key of C. Okay, so your chords change. Okay, and then you go to the C. One night a wild young cowboy rode in, wild as the West Texas wind, da da dum dum, and that's that little doodad there at 24, dum da da dum. I will let you know, just before you lose your mind, it went right off the end of the, way up here on the top of the ukulele, way too high. So I just dropped it an octave. It works. The first time you play it, you'll be like, that doesn't sound right. And then after that, you'll forget that it's been dropped an octave. Dum da da dum. Okay. Dashing and daring, a drink he was sharing with wicked Felina, the girl that I... And look how long he goes in the G7 chord. Dun, 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 creating a whole bunch of tension with Felina, the girl that I love. So in anger I... Okay, so anger I. So he's then using that D7 to pop you back up to the top, to pop you into the G chord there at the top of the song. And so then you go to verse 3. I challenge the right for the love of this maiden. Down went his hand for the gun that he wore. By the way, that's never a good idea either, right? To, one, have a gun on in the bar, and two, reach for it. Nothing positive is going to come from that. My challenge was answered in less than a heartbeat. The handsome young stranger lie dead on the floor. Okay, and so on. So you get the idea. If you are a singer, this is actually a pretty decent little tune to give you a chance that the melody works. It doesn't go super high or super low. It really works around a sort of a cowboy lilt, and I think it's kind of fun. Look at it. Let's see. Everybody else is still piling in. Barbara's here. Patricia is here. Cindy River. These are lovely guitar riffs, though. Yeah, I like to make fun of this song, but really, when you look at good cowboy music, they often will have pretty simple chords, and that allows you, as a musician, if you've got chords you're not going to be worried about over here, that allows you to put your focus in over here and do some cool things with it. And so there's that. Now let's play through the melody one time just so we can get a sense of what's going on. Then we'll talk tough uke. So grab a baritone players. You're on chords, of course, and let's just play melody. One. Oh, and also it's a waltz, right? And it's cowboy, so you have a cowboy waltz, which is always exciting. From the top. 1, 2, 3. Quarter notes, nothing fancy there, right? Just quarter notes, and you don't have to do anything fancy, and it really works. Okay, keep going from measure 9. Play. I'm sorry. Again, straight quarter notes, basically the same thing as the beginning, more or less. Nothing fancy. Just like you'd want a cowboy song. Okay, let's go on to the bridge, page 3. And this does get a little bit more complicated, and so this is a little bit challenging to get it right. From 17, 1, 2, 3. Sorry, 10, A. Okay, so I'd like to just play just that part from there, from 17 to the end. I messed up the middle pretty good there. Because you're all over the neck, you probably are going to, it'll be helpful when we actually add in the chords there, because then your hand will be in a better position. But when you're playing straight melody and you go way up the neck, just be thoughtful about, oh God, I got 10s here, so I'm going to play that in 7th position, and that sort of, use that to your advantage. It's hard to just be picking out all of the frets, come up with a system for that. Let's go from the top of the page, and then we'll talk about the turnaround there at the end. 17, 1, 2, 3. 2, 3, 2, 3. Okay, that's a long note, and then so that's just the bridge, right? It's just giving you something different before it sends you back up into the verses. And then at 34, we're in the key of C, and we got to get over into the key of G at the beginning of the song. So we've got to do some sort of a turnaround. Now, those of you guys that were here last night, you know what's like turnarounds in jazz. Basically, they say, all right, we're going to do this turnaround in jazz so that we can play the song again, sometimes 20 times in jazz. We got to have a cool turnaround. We're going to do 4 chords. They're going to be 4 chords you've never even heard of that you can practically not even put on underneath your fingers. Those are going to be the chords we're going to use. In cowboy music, C, D7, and then off you go, right? So we're not going to make it too fancy, but there is definitely that sense of turning the song around to get back into the key of G. So when you play measure 33, the girl that I love, 2, 3, 1. 2, 3, and then play, right? So probably, unfortunately, guys, I know most of you have this in a binder, right? You're probably going to need to tape page 3 on over here, right? Because you're going to have to immediately be back at page 1 when you do a song like this. I try so hard not to have that happen, but some songs don't cooperate, right? As you know, and so sometimes you're just you got to deal with page issues. The nice part is you're only going to be turning back to page 1 4 times, and but you probably really do need to lay out all 3 pages. All right, so that's how the melody is working, and then finally let's talk about. Oh, I forgot to mention. Drum roll, please. Dun, 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 dun. Kay got that for me. Very excited. All right, now let's play the Tuff uke. Grab your G chord, okay? We'll go nice and slow. There is nothing in here that's surprising at all. I will tell you the A minor that you're going to be using here in measure 4 is way up here, 7, 8, 9. Okay. I've actually been adding in the open G string to give it more of a cool feel, but it's not really simple. You're not really supposed to do that. 7, 9, 8, 7 is correct. And it's just because the melody goes way up there. There was just no way to put. I guess it's possible to do to give this A minor with that 7, but it's not convenient. So 9, 8, 7 is that. The other thing in measure 6, if you're singing it, you want to use your open D. It feels more cowboyish. But if you're doing Tuff uke, you really need your closed D7 because of the melody note. And so I just went ahead. I didn't clean that up. I didn't. I left it that way on purpose so that you will know. If you're singing, you want to go with the easier D7. If you're playing Tuff uke, you got to play with the a little bit tougher. I know, isn't that exciting? I have a Jolly Roger cup. I'll probably never drink out of anything else. Let's put it that way. All right. By the way, I mentioned yesterday on the About page, I'm putting in a gallery of people representing Jolly Roger. So Kari and Jackie, not Jackie. Jasmine. Kari and Jasmine are the only 2 on there right now. And I think somebody else sent me a photo. I'm going to get it up there. All right. So, if you're a cowboy, are you... Is that you? Or are you... a cowboy, right? I might try to do that one. I would say probably strumming, right? If you are singing, you are probably thinking about out in the west Texas, town of El Paso, I fell in love with the... So you're thinking about some type of patterned pick if you are a singer. And so boom, chuck, chuck, boom, chuck, chuck. We've done that before. And so if you are wanting to sing it, maybe you grab all four strings, index on the low note, and then 2 plucks with all 4. Out in the west Texas, town of El Paso. Okay, so that would be a cowboy pluck that I would look at quite a bit. But as a tough uke player, I'm going with my thumb for sure. I want it to be long and languid and lazy, and I don't want this to feel like classical music, which is we grab a claw when we're doing classical, or arpeggio type picking. But when you're trying to get the melody out of your guitar and the chord out, you probably thumb on this one, right? Give it a try, see what happens. Let's do 2 verses, and then let's do 2 verses, the bridge once, and then we'll come back and do 1 verse just to practice that turnaround. Okay, so 2 verses, the bridge, and 1 verse. 1, 2, 3. Tell you about this one. This is kind of yucky. G7, the high G7 with your pinky on 8 to start off with. So you're going to put your high G on, 5, 7, 5, add your pinky on just up there at 8, so strum that. And then pull it back to 7, and then go to your high G, which is 7, 7, 7, 10. See, dun 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 dun. Okay, and then go on to 26. D chord. D7, and around, go to the top. Page 2. When you get here, if it's your last time through, you've had enough, you're tired of the story of the poor guy being in love, measure 13 is when you're going to start this slowdown. One little kiss and Felina, goodbye. One little kiss put a nice big G chord at the end. And that's how you're going to wrap it up. Okay, so let's talk very briefly one more time about measure 22. It's the only, every song has the hard part, right? Every single song, as far as I can tell, has the hard part. Measure 22 is this one. You've got a G7 chord, but your melody is 8-7-8, so you really do have to hit this high high chord. They're speaking of New Mexico. Ronnie finally made it in. Don't talk to Ronnie. She lives in the Badlands. Let's see. Oh, Cat, I love that. That's super exciting. All right, let's talk about, let's figure out how to get into 22 and out of 22 successfully. Okay, so you got your 0-0-3, start at 17. No problem so far, right? Make sure that's a half note there. It doesn't feel right, but it's right. And then you got your high F chord. That's your C chord. Now here's where things get dicey. 0-0-3. Now put your pinky on that 7, and then slide your pinky to 8 while you're putting your ring finger down on 7 of the second string and adding your 2 5s. Okay? So you really, and I'm going to make myself a note this, so on Friday I do it right. I want to have my pinky on that 3, slide it up to, not necessarily the 3. Yeah, probably 3. Slide it up to 7, and then get it on 8. That allows you room to get your high G7 on. Strum that. Okay, so and then you just have to move the pinky. And then you've got to grab your bar, and again push your pinky up to 10 while you're adding your bar on at 7. And let that ring. It's 3 beats. 2, 3, bum, ba-dum, bum. Okay, if we had a piano, it'd be way up here, bing, bing, bing. But we were out of notes, so we drop it an octave. Those of you guys that like writing some music or are thinking about writing it, dropping octaves is a very, very, either raising octaves or dropping octaves is a very, very normal activity when you only have 1.5 octaves on your instrument. Piano has 8 octaves. We have 1.5, and so you're gonna have to be comfortable with occasionally being like, well, I can either go up to fret 17 and nobody will ever play this, or I can drop it an octave on and down here. Same exact idea, same exact notes, just an octave lower, and people are like, oh yeah, I know what they're doing there. All right, so let's do from 17 again, get in and out of that moment. Okay, from the top, or 17, sorry. 1, 2, 3. Chord. G chord. Let those ring too. You want to kind of count those in your head. 2, 3, done, and go. Right, and then off you go back to redo the repeat. Okay, got it. That's not a ton of music there, but if you can get it right, you'll have this really sweet cowboy song available there, and it's really pretty fun to play. I think every time I have a song with 10 verses, I kind of want to die a little bit because I don't want to type all those verses in, and I know typos are going to sneak their way in there because I'm also busy, you know, drinking coffee and watching Harry Potter and doing all sorts of stuff that's way more interesting than typing in lyrics. And so if you decide you're going to sing it and you find some typos in there, let me know. Let's grab the baritone version of it real quick, and then we're going to grab the arpeggios real quick as well. El Paso. Now this is in the original key. Baritone players, you're on Tuff uke if you can do it. Otherwise, you're on melody. ukulele players, you got your chords here, and the nice part about it is you probably know all of these. Unlike last night, you probably know all of these chords. Okay, let's give it a try. Two verses, two verses, the bridge, and one verse. 1, 2, 3. Up. The top. That's enough of that. So that's plenty of times through. All right, so there's El Paso. If you don't like the song, blame Kat. She's from Texas. If you love the song, Ronnie is here. She lives in New Mexico, and he escapes to New Mexico. He calls it the Badlands of New Mexico. But Ronnie's probably like, why did he pick on me when I walked in? When if he escapes to New Mexico, everything's fine as long as he's in New Mexico. It's when he decides to go back to the cantina in El Paso that things don't go bad. By the way, if you've ever been in southern New Mexico, it really is the Badlands. You can pretty much go there and hang out. No one will know. No one will know that you're there. Let's grab those arpeggios real quick. We just want to play them. They are hard and they're fun. So grab the G minor one for ukulele. The only thing we have to talk about on this arpeggio is one, this arpeggio is no longer about getting your chords on and trying to play it, right? That's not, we're beyond that at this point. This one's about reading the time signatures, or not the time signatures as much as the timing of the song. Dun dun dun, 2, dun dun dun, 3, 4, dun dun dun, 3, 4. Dun dun dun, right? So you got to pay attention. You got eighth notes by dotted half notes. That timing's weird. You've got plenty of eighth notes mixed in with quarter notes as well. Down at measure 16, the little boxes, remember that's a down strum with your index finger, and the V shapes are an up strum with your index finger. So when we get down there, it's and you have a rest after that. So you actually have to make the ukulele stop singing during that rest. It's 16, 17, and 19. You want to actually stop the ukulele from making sound. And the rest of it is pretty straightforward. Lots of bar chords. You guys are fine with bar chords at this point. So let's play it through just one time through. Ignore the repeat, and then we will go through and do it on baritone as well. Okay. So if you're on baritone, play the chords for us. 1, 2. This is supposed to be kind of fast, and then it slows down at 9. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 4. An F chord. Where you would repeat, just go on to measure 24, grab your G minor, and then it goes to 2/4 timing. It doesn't really matter. 4/4 and 2/4 feel very much alike. It's just that you'll see that it makes a whole lot more sense laid out on the page that you have a chord at the beginning of each measure to grab. Okay, from 24, 1, 2. Down strums, slide up to 3, slide up to 5, strums with your thumb, B flat on 5, 2, drop your middle finger, drop to the 3rd fret, minor shape, D chord, and then there's no strum there. I debated, and I thought, no, pluck. So, so that's how it goes on Friday. Obviously, we'll play it through as written with the repeats and all that. But I think it's a really pretty little tune. Let me grab the baritone version, make sure there's no mistakes in there, and then we will have made it in on time. Always rushing at the end here, guys, and I apologize. What? 228. Doesn't like the way the baritone downloaded. Hold on. Shoot. What happened there? I'll tell you what, we'll just play the baritone. My computer is like, nope, we don't like the way that downloaded. So let me grab it real quick off of the ukulele one. We'll just play out the ukulele one. But baritone players, you should be identical, I think. I hope. Different key. Oh, that just makes me so sad. Alright, 128. Alright, let's do the baritone version. Okay. G minor, Vic is not unimportant. G minor is a really beautiful key on ukulele. It really, really works. Okay. Baritone version, same thing. From the top, ignore the repeats. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 3, 4. I may eventually have to rewrite that ending just a little bit. It feels like it comes up too quick. All right. Straits of Laredo, a new arpeggio. Tomorrow we're going to be doing, what are we working on? You Are My Sunshine and Tenting Tonight. A lot of you guys don't know Tenting Tonight. I never knew Tenting Tonight. Old Civil War song, maybe the saddest lyrics I've ever seen. And a desperately wonderful melody with a really, really sad story. And so what we want to do is motivate one of you to turn that into a much more a less sad set of lyrics on a lovely melody. So I'll get that posted here hopefully tonight or first thing in the morning as usual. And then Thursday, Red River Valley and Tom Dooley. We've got a good concerts lining up for Friday, so be working on all the stuff on the list and see which ones that you want to do on Friday. We'll make sure that we have a great time. And I think that's what I know. I think that's about all I know about ukulele. So hope you guys are having a wonderful day. I'm going to run over to the studio for a little bit and get a couple of items ready for people to pick up. And I will see all of you tomorrow. You're welcome, Dennis. Good to see you, buddy. Love the songs today. Thank you. You're welcome, Kat. Glad you're here. Love those arpeggios. The arpeggios, guys, if you have forgotten, if you want to be a top level player, those arpeggios will get you there. I promise. I promise. At least the first 10 you actually are in keys you will really be playing in. The last 20 are in weirdo keys, but the first 10 are actually super helpful. So I do want you to. I'm going to keep stuffing those down your throat until you're like, all right, I see what's going on here. So yeah, keep playing those arpeggios. Linda, good to see you. Diane, she even likes the arpeggio. Diane's not that fond of arpeggios. Thanks, Diane. That makes me happy. Diane, have a great afternoon. Carol, a little typo on the baritone music. The chord chart for A major 18 is wrong. Okay, thank you, Carol. I will go fix that. And for some reason, it didn't download it properly. Maybe that's why I knew there was a typo on there, Carol. I'll go fix it. I will get it fixed. Let's see. See you tomorrow, Lynn. Glad you're here. In New Mexico, there is a volcanic area called Malpais, the Badlands. I gotta tell you, after what did we spend 8-9 years in New Mexico, I am convinced they're all the Badlands. I mean, honestly, from top to bottom, it is a crazy area. Everything. That's where we're gonna go spend Mother's Day. Actually, we're gonna leave town. We're making plans to go visit her mother, and it's super weird and scary to get outside of the house. Jacqueline, good to see you. Ronnie. Ronnie, you're our New Mexico representative at this point, so we'll pick on you just a little bit. Annie, good to see you. Janice, practicing daily. This counts, you guys, right? This is practice. We're playing duets every single day. This is going to make you a good player. Think about how hard it is what you're doing. Every single day you're playing duets on music that may be brand new to you. That's hard, and that's exciting too, I hope. Hopefully for you. Vic, great songs. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Vic. Linda, get that arm fixed, man. It's been a long go for you. Carol, you're welcome, Carol. And Michelle, thanks for everything you do. You're welcome, Michelle. Thank you for showing up every day. It makes it worth doing. All right, I'll see all y'all guys tomorrow. I'm going to pull the plug.